Good morning, everyone. Here with a little review of, as you could probably guess, the Pan America Special. This is a 2022. I purchased it with about 11,000 miles on it. It is the Enthusiast Edition. So it has the military colors with just the HD instead of the logo. But yeah, so far I absolutely love the bike. There has been some qualms when I purchased the bike and was going to take delivery. There was some solenoid issue, I guess, and it didn't want to run or anything upon delivery. So they had to fix that. It took about a week for the part to come. So I had to wait a week for the bike I just bought, which was kind of a bummer, but they took care of it. Got it a week later. They fast-tracked the part to the dealer. Got it up and running, and rode it for about a week. Got it back, rode it around for a week. Fell in love with it, that's for sure. And unfortunately, after about a week, started having some issues. It started with the kickstand saying no kickstand was down, even though it was up, and the bike was in neutral, so it shouldn't even thrown the warning. And then I realized that, oh shit, I didn't even have a gear indicator. Like where the indicator was, it was just blank. It was just like black. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. No gear position indicator. So I was like, well, I'm going to unplug the side switch stand here, which is just right up in here. And so I unplugged that, and then it let me start the bike from there, but it ran like complete shit. So I turned it off, put everything back together, gave the dealer a call, let them know what was happening. They're like, we'll come pick it up. So that was sweet. They came and grabbed it. And so before they came and got it, I wanted to make sure that, I wasn't going to hand them a bike that didn't have the problem it was showing, because that was kind of my worst fear, is like, oh, I'm going to give them a bike with a problem. They're going to be like, yeah, that it wasn't doing what you're saying it's doing, so we don't know what to fix. But so that morning before they came and picked it up, I started the bike up. Or I didn't start it, I just turned it on to make sure that the gear indicator was still blank and that the kickstand was saying it was down, even though it was in neutral. And sure enough, it was. So I went ahead and went to go power the bike off, and it just stayed on and stayed on and stayed on and stayed on. So I'm like, are you serious? So I had to reach in here, which, speaking of, they didn't even put it back. So I do feel like they kind of rushed, because they did want to get it back to me as fast as possible. So I ain't going to blame them too much for that. I actually pulled this out of this little place because I had to pull the main fuse to get the bike to turn off. So I let them know, okay, bike's not turning off now, so that's another thing on top of what it was doing. So I told them, hey, I just pulled the main fuse, so when you guys come and pick it up, don't worry about putting it in transport mode, because I had to pull power to it. And they're like, all right. So they came and picked it up on a Wednesday. 2 days later, they gave me a call. They're like, yeah, we figured out the problem. There was a broken wire somewhere, I guess. And they said also on top of that, the right-hand control unit was out. At first, they thought it was just the wire, and they fixed that. And they got, I guess, the kickstand working and the gear indicator working, but the bike still wouldn't turn off. So they had to order a new right-hand control unit. This is the updated one, so that's nice. You can tell it's updated because it has the raised start button there. And so that took about 2 weeks in total, from the time they came to pick it up to the time that I took delivery of it. It was 2 weeks in total, so it was kind of a bummer, buying a bike and then, oh crap, you can't take it home. Sorry, we got to spend a week fixing it. Then you finally get it, you ride it for a week, and then it breaks, and they're like, hey, we got to spend 2 weeks fixing it. But on the bright side, I will say this, Desert Wind Harley Davidson did not charge me for a damn thing. Even though this was a used bike, it's a 22. It was over the 15-day legal window time frame for them to be liable to fix it. They said the hand control was covered by factory warranty. So, yeah, that's like a known part for going out. So I guess the factory's just been taking care of people on the earlier models with that, from what I've been aware, because I did not purchase a warranty with this bike, and they told me it was covered under the factory warranty. And this bike's over 2 years old, and I know their factory warranties are 2 years. But I wasn't going to ask questions. I was like, all right, sounds good. I need to fill out any paperwork, sign anything, pay anything. He's like, nope, you're good to go. Your keys are on your bike. Have a good rest of your day. So, I mean, the guys up at Desert Wind, they did take care of it. And that's the one thing I say. It's not their fault that this model of bike is what it is. I mean, it's an early model. It's going to have issues that, are the testing. This is like essentially a prototype to the market. And I don't know. I think Harley knocked it out of the park for doing something outside of the box. This motor is literally, I've always appreciated bikes for different things. Cruiser bikes for their comfortability or their seating position or the sound system that's on it. You always have like one favorite part of a bike. And by far my favorite part of this bike is the motor. So much torque, so much horsepower. I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the world or the most torqueiest thing in the world. But I don't think 98% of riders could even use the full potential of what's on tap here. And I've taken it on some trail rides. Trail rides have been amazing. The technology that helps you out in like the off-road mode that prevents that rear end from just slipping out on you. It's fantastic. Like, my buddy's riding behind me on his Africa Twin, and I'm just like gunning it through the corners, and my shit starts to slide out, and then it catches itself, and he's telling me he can literally see the bike, like at a very specific lean angle that the bike gets, it cuts it off. He sees my wheel stop spinning, and then the bike just corrects itself. So it's definitely a dirt-inspiring bike, even though how heavy it is. I mean, 600 pounds ain't the easiest thing to be lugging around. I will say, if you're a taller rider, the 600 pounds don't feel that bad, because it's just so, I don't want to say top-heavy, but the center of gravity is a little bit higher, so when it starts to tip, if you have longer legs, you can kind of catch it pretty easily. But if you're a short rider, expect to drop this bitch. Like, it is a tall bike, but yeah, if you're under 6 foot, you're probably going to drop this in the dirt. But I mean, that's most adventure bikes, really. But at the same time, the technology can save you. There was one time where I did go off-roading and I forgot to change my mode, and I was in sport mode, and that was a very different ride on the dirt. I was fishtailing like crazy. I had no idea what was going on, and then looked down and realized, I'm like, being in sport mode with your suspension stiff as ever, with the throttle mapping just at its maximum, it's like, yeah, no wonder I'm fishtailing all over the place. Put it into off-road mode, just ran straight as an arrow after that. As far as upgrades that I've done to this bitch so far, crash bars, that was essential. That was the number one. I was like, I definitely plan on taking this thing off on the trail, and I like this color of paint, this paint scheme. I didn't really like it on camera when I was looking at the pictures. I was not interested in this one. They had a couple others that I was more interested in, and then I saw this one in person, and I was like, yeah, I actually kind of fuck with that. So you'd be surprised that pictures online of colors of bikes you may not like, you may end up liking in person. I think the only other upgrade I've done is the Ram cup holder, the little swivel guy here, which I don't know how it's holding up. To be honest, I abuse the crap out of this thing, and it's getting a little wobbly, but I don't know if it's meant to be that wobbly. I don't know. We'll run it till it breaks. I'm sure it will at some point. But I guess, I don't know if you count this as an upgrade. Well, one thing I miss about my old Cruiser is having some kind of storage up front, because I vape. I tried putting my vape up here a few times. Then you forget about it, you pop a wheelie, and that bitch is gone. So I just went ahead and threw on the little dump pouch, throw the vape in there, grab it out real quick, throw it back in there. Very handy. It did come with the top case and the side bags. I just run the top case most of the time, just because lane filtering here is legal, so I just rather not have, extra bulk on the side. And the top case is really all I need during the week. If I go on big trips or something, I'll throw the side cases on there or whatever. But yeah, overall, definitely recommend as a purchase. I mean, by far the most fun bike I've ever owned, hands down. Almost like kind of a Swiss Army knife. You can ride it on the streets, to the trails, having lots of fun in sports mode or a customized mode. Then you can get out ride out to the trails in comfort, hit the trails, turn it into dirt mode, go as long as you want until you get tired, turn around, hit the streets nice and calm back home. And yeah, I don't know, it forgoes getting a truck, it forgoes getting the dirt bike. This is kind of like the vehicle to do it all. So yeah, I don't know, would I get one again? Definitely. It's only been a month, so I don't know, maybe that statement will change. But as of right now, all things considering that I bought it from a Harley dealer, and I think that was a very smart choice. I think if you are going to buy one of these pre-used, I think your best bet is buying it from the dealer, because especially the 21s and 22s, because if someone's going to be able to work on it and help you out and figure out those issues, it's probably not going to be the guys at your local, power sports dealership. These are very new bikes with a shit ton of technology. There's 8 different computers on this bitch. Like, for normal tech, it's really not an option for them to work on these things. So I would much rather just trust a specialist at the dealer that is able to call a master tech if he needs at corporate, that's going to be able to give him every answer he needs. He could call the engineer at corporate to find out any kind of engineering issue. So as far as trying to cover your P's, I would buy it at a Harley dealer. I bought mine at Desert Wind Harley Davidson here in Mesa. Guys were fucking awesome. They were fantastic. They worked with me. I told them the price I was trying to pay. It took them a while to make it happen, but eventually they were able to make it happen. And like I said, on top of that, they took care of all the fixes that it needed. in the meantime as well. So can't recommend them enough. 10 out of 10. I'll probably be stopping up there on a Saturday soon because they do usually do some weekend fun stuff, and I haven't been able to ride in a few weeks, so it'll be fun to get out there and hang out with the brothers. But yeah, that's all I got on the review, so y'all take it easy. I'll catch you in the next one.